After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Last Night I Watched. Today we're talking about The Matrix Resurrections, a new Matrix in 2021, the fourth one. It came out. And, today discussing it with me, I got Carlos in front of me. What's up, Carlos?
Hey, hey.
Hey, and then Ian to my left. What's going on, Ian?
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, today's...
January 1st.
Yeah, so this is actually from last year because it's 2022
it's
now.
Crazy,
so yeah, but The Matrix Resurrections. So, man, how do we kick this one off? Because it was a viewing experience, huh?
It sure was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
What an experience.
For me personally, normally I think every movie we've done, I like. I would say I'd put them in the positive, and I think, just to give a little preview, this is going to be my first movie in the negative, but I'm a big Matrix fanboy or whatever, the originals. I liked the trilogy. We even recorded all those episodes and everything. You could go back and listen.
The lost episodes.
We gush about them.
Yeah, because
they're lost
2 and 3.
Yeah,
they're in a vault somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
Well, so 2 and 3, I think they have merit. They're not as good as the first one, of course, but they finish out the trilogy. They flesh out the ideas.
They have fun action sequences for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of good action. And then now, nearly 20 years later, we got Matrix 4. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go last. What did you guys think? Ian, you want to start?
Just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of bullshit.
Just a bunch of bullshit. I don't know. I don't have much to say. Well, I think I say in our first Matrix podcast, the one that you can actually listen to. I think I say that I'm not really at the time I was not looking forward to the new one just because, it's just why make it. 3 ended fine. It was an ending. They kind of, really, I even say, you didn't really need 2 and 3, but we got them. We can't change that. So we got them, and they were what they were. But at least it ended. It was a pretty, it's like kind of just put the stamp on it. It's like, okay,
yeah,
Matrix is over. And then if they brought it back. And
they resurrected
I didn't ask for that. I've never asked for another. I never really wanted another Matrix movie, so I was not the target audience. Mm-hmm. And I knew that going into it. And we went and saw it, and I was trying to, I'm trying to like follow along. I'm like, okay, all right. And they're opening it up, and it's kind of like the first movie, but it's kind of not like the first movie, and
slight differences. Yeah.
And then so Thomas Anderson's a game developer, and The Matrix is a video game series in this movie, and I'm like, okay, all right. And they keep showing clips of the old movies, and I'm like, okay, well I don't get it. So you're showing clips. I'm kind of like, why are you doing this? Because these movies don't technically exist, right? It's a video game.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be like cutscenes from a video game, or maybe the video game.
And it just kind of
Unreal Engine 6.
I'm just like scratching my head. I'm like, all right, okay. And
did you feel like for the first 20 minutes we were kind of watching the first one all over again? Because I sort of did.
In a way, yeah.
I mean, it's the entire. It's literally the same opening scene with the Zero and Trinity and all that.
We're
stuff.
introduced to the
different actors.
I guess. Well, I'm going into the plot already. Carlos, what did you think?
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I was really hyped for this one. I love The Matrix, the original trilogy. The Animatrix is great too.
I agree.
And I think that when we did our review last year, that was the first time I saw the Animatrix. That stuff's hardcore. They got machines chopping people up with chainsaws and blood flying everywhere. And there's interesting ideas. And, there's ghosts in the Matrix in the simulation. And they try to explain that in the Animatrix. I think we were pretty bored in this one, in the new one. It was really boring.
Yeah.
I like that Lana Wachowski tried to bring it to 2021 and have Neo be like a game developer. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's in tech. What's that called? Tech Valley or whatever. Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
They're
hanging out
in
with all
San
the fake
Francisco.
people and producers and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we watched it together in the theater, and Ian, he's been pretty down on this one from the beginning. He knew it was gonna be bad.
And that's
Roman
you know,
and I had
I didn't
hope.
want to influence you guys either. I didn't want to be like, oh guys, this is gonna suck, because there were some people that were hyping this thing up through the roof, and I didn't want to be the other spectrum and just be like, no, it's gonna suck, blah blah blah. You know, it's like I hope I didn't come across like that. Like, hey guys, don't be excited for this because it's gonna suck. Like, I really hope, because I tried.
I think
I
you
really
were more
tried.
of a realist about it.
I really tried.
Exactly,
I tried.
yeah.
I was trying to follow. Anyway, I'm sorry to,
So I've been to see 2 other movies towards the end of the 2021, Licorice Pizza and Spider-Man No Way Home. Both of those had great reactions in the packed audiences on day one. You had people screaming and cheering for Spider-Man, and Licorice Pizza, people were cringing or going, ooh, ah, and the whole audience is reacting. When we went to see Matrix Revolutions, the audience was dead the entire film.
Dead.
Although there was
there were
towards
some
the
pops.
end,
There were a few pops. Well,
but in the other 2 films that I went to,
Not
the
like
audience was reacting.
Yeah, not at all.
This one
Not
was like
yeah.
a single person in the corner
Yeah,
of the.
it was
audience
very
was
like
reacting.
segregated.
It was bad,
Yeah.
and we're going through the plot and trying to advance the plot, and everybody's just bored and quiet and everything. And I look over at Ian, and he's shifting around in his chair, and then he lets out this big yawn, and I couldn't stop cracking
Hey, I had
up
a long day, man. Because
he was right. He was right. It was
The
boring.
train at 7:00 that morning.
Yeah, you did have a long day.
Long day, but no,
it was a snooze fest.
You started, so I didn't really know I was that what's it called, like
Animated?
I didn't know anybody noticed my yawn, so you just started laughing like for a good like 10-15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, he had to like smoked a joint before this or something. It's like, or taking an edible, and it's finally hitting him, because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he's laughing at, because it's just the movie's just going on, it's just boringness. I'm like, there's nothing really to laugh at.
It was quiet. It was boring in that moment.
And then later on, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand now. 'Cause, yeah, at first I'm just like, okay, something's hitting him.
I was so
I'm
hyped
like,
up.
Oh, and then I was like, oh, well, at least I'm glad it was me. I guess I'm giving someone enjoyment,
Yeah.
not the fucking movie. But yeah,
A character.
it was such a
Yeah.
boring movie that was the best part, was Ian yawning.
Yeah.
oh boy.
It says a lot about the movie. Yeah, I did not like our return to the Matrix.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of a letdown for sure.
A letdown.
I think I said in the Matrix, because we picked Matrix, and then like that same week or whatever, the 4th one trailers came out. So we were like, oh, we'll talk
Yeah,
about
it
the
was
trailers.
very serendipitous. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like we went over, Ian, you were kind of like, I don't know. And then I was kind of like, I think I say it in the video, like, I hope this isn't just a cash grab, a blatant cash grab. And that's how I felt about it, like, you didn't need to make this movie, I thought.
Yeah.
And what is it supposed to be viral market, or I mean not viral, is it supposed to be marketing for the new video game and stuff? Like, is it supposed to connect into that? Are they making a whole new trilogy?
It's interesting. So it sounded like they were, but then I just read the other day that the producer of this movie went out and said that they are not planning a trilogy. And maybe that's because of the box office
That's
results.
because they're planning a wheel, and it's going to be 4 movies.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
this movie ends like as if there's supposed to be more.
Yeah.
A little like the first one, Although the first one, I think we talked about, it kind of wraps it up pretty nicely on its own.
It could have been its own singular movie.
Well, that's what I would have hoped from this one. The first one could have been one and done, but they made a trilogy out of it. But it was cool. They expanded the universe. They missed on some things. But for the most part, I thought it was really cool. This one just felt like a rehash of the original, and there wasn't much new stuff added. I mean, they switched out the architect for the analyst. Yeah. There's a new Agent Smith and a new Morpheus, and they have new methods and techniques or whatever. The swarm thing, which I didn't like. Felt just like zombie movie, Resident Evil or something.
Yeah.
I just felt like there was attempts at humor, and a lot of the jokes I thought fell flat and all that stuff. So it was just like a bunch of swings and a bunch of misses.
If I weren't with you guys in the theater, and if Carlos, which by the way, thank you for paying for our tickets. If I were not, I would have walked out during the fucking boardroom scene and the guy calling Trinity a MILF and all that. I would have walked out.
I think we disagree a little on that. I like the meta stuff, but
See, a lot of people do like it.
Yeah.
Some people say, "Oh, I like the meta stuff," but then when the movie gets into the Matrix stuff, that's when I don't like it. And some people say, "Well, I don't like the meta stuff, but I do like the Matrix." I don't like either.
different strokes, different folks.
I just
You don't like either.
I just don't like either.
I mean, I
You know.
I think
I guess I
was
prefer the Matrix parts more in the real world more, but
than
at the same
meta.
time,
I mean, meta commentary. I think
I really, when you get down to it, I don't like either.
I think meta stuff works better for comedy than anything.
Oh, definitely.
Like Rick and Morty does a lot of the meta stuff.
Definitely.
You know, this it just felt like they were. It felt like they were explaining themselves, like almost like they were pre-apologizing. They're like, you know, Warner Brothers wanted us to make this movie, blah blah blah.
It's almost like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, and I'm
You
okay
know?
with that. I like it, but I think a
It's
little
just-
goes a long way. You don't need
I
to.
think it's a little inappropriate in a Matrix movie, though.
When they were literally overlaying like with footage of the original, I was just like, what are you doing? And I think it makes sense because the Matrix is cyclical by nature. I mean, in the original trilogy, I think that's what, like the 5th iteration or 6th iteration of the Matrix. So I can understand that there's like a reboot process to it, but I just thought the way they went about it was just, Ian, you said it before, clunky. I thought it felt very clunky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I feel weird. I don't know how to do this. Usually I'm glowing about movies and I'm like, let's talk about this and this. And
No,
now
dude,
I'm just
you
like,
bring up a good point. Yeah, I don't think we've ever, like, at least, like, I mean, I don't think I've given a bad, I mean, have you given a bad review yet to something?
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
Maybe Greasy Strangler. We didn't like it at first.
Right.
yeah, that was probably
right.
the hardest we were on a movie, but even then we were cracking up.
Yeah, I mean, we still
Yeah.
had a fun time. It wasn't boring. We still had a fun time when we
Yes,
watched
this was
it.
boring. This was just like, whew.
And like the funny thing was, like in the theater, like, you know, you guys are eating your popcorn and, you know, like you're I thought, like, you know, you guys are having a really good time, and I'm like, okay, well.
I still had fun, yeah.
And then afterwards, when we, you know, said our views on it, I was like, okay, thank God, like, you know, thank God I'm not the, I have to be
You're
the,
not the asshole.
I have to be the Debbie Downer here and be like, I didn't like it, I thought it sucked. Like, I'm glad we all kind of, you know, and we weren't like that. We actually had, in my, you know, opinion, some respectable criticisms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just like, "Ooh, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I
didn't like it because it wasn't the original.
exactly. Like,
I did hear that the studio did want to do a sequel with or without the original cast or the directors. So that's why Lana Wachowski signed on for this one.
and they say that in the movie, don't they?
They
It's
literally
like, Warner Bros.
say
is
that.
gonna do it with or without you.
Yeah.
You know? With or without us. you
Which I don't know if I want that in my movie, like the
I don't
politics of it all.
Well,
I just want to forget all of the outside world stuff.
Again,
For the Matrix, yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't. It just doesn't click with the Matrix for me.
Yeah.
You know, when I watched 22 Jump Street, I liked the meta in that.
That worked fine.
They're like, you know, it's right next door to 21 Jump Street, and they're joking about it's a sequel. Ha, it's funny. In the Matrix, though, I mean, you know, you literally have like a built-in design to have reboots. The Matrix itself, you don't have to go this shitty, like, you know, meta humor attempt, and it just felt weird. Like the Matrix isn't a comedy, you know, and the jokes didn't land. Like we said, the audience was quiet.
Yeah.
Quite
You
the
know,
entire
a couple
time.
chuckles here and there, but I don't know if it was for the right reasons.
Few and far between, and probably, you know, maybe laughing at it, not with it.
Yeah, I remember they laughed at
Yeah.
like Neo when he attempts to fly, which I also thought was really dumb. You know, why did he lose his powers like randomly, and now Trinity has them, and the whole thing was just kind of convoluted. And maybe it's something. Well, I'll look back in the future, in the future, I'll look back at this and be like, I just didn't get it. But I kind of don't think so. I don't know, unless they explain some shit in another movie. It just felt confusing, awkward, and like I said at the beginning, unnecessary.
I don't, you know, some people say that, well, like, oh, well, you know, they can, you know, touch upon that more in a new movie. It's like, yeah, but that you shouldn't rely on another movie in order to like this movie. Like, I can watch, a lot of people watch Terminator 2 more than Terminator, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you don't really need to watch the first Terminator. I recommend you do, but at the same time, you don't have to.
Yeah.
I think that's like a big fault in a movie. It's like, oh, but you know, if you watch the other, it's like, It's like, really, I mean, I don't know. I guess
Yeah, even
maybe
like
maybe with sequels that doesn't count. I don't know.
even
If-
Kill Bill, like part 1 and 2, you can watch them totally individually. They
Yeah,
make sense. You
I
know, they
just-
connect well.
Sometimes the whole like, well, if there's like just overall kind of poor writing or this and that, oh well, they could explain. It's like, no, it might just be kind of that they just were not on their A game that day when they wrote the script. I don't know.
Maybe they were rushed.
Can we say anything good about the cast in this movie?
I thought
I actually-
Keanu plays Neo just like Neo. I mean, in 20 years, I guess he hasn't gotten any better at acting, but maybe that's intentional. I really thought at times, like, is he acting this way on purpose? Like, very wooden, like, very stiff, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I think he's playing Neo, but I don't know. I don't know if it's still just Keanu being Keanu. Whoa.
I guess we have to take into consideration he did die, so maybe that's why he's so stiff now, is being resurrected.
I guess
And
so.
having your eyes put back in probably slows
Yeah,
you
he was
down a little bit.
reconstructed.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I liked Bugs okay, her
Bugs was
character.
cool.
She's very pretty.
I saw her
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and she was practicing a lot of martial arts behind
That's
the
cool.
scenes.
That's a shame because
looks
they don't
really good.
use
Yeah.
any of it.
Good point.
They cut that. We talked about editing before this, and editing is so huge. The editing in those fight scenes is just terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe on its own it's okay, but I'm holding it up against the originals. And, like, I thought we were going to at least, even if the story was dumb or whatever, at least we see some cool gun fu fighting. I don't think Keanu ever uses a gun in this movie, Neo. I don't
Oh.
think he
You might be right.
has any full, like, the dojo scene with the new Morpheus was awful.
I don't even remember it.
Man, it is very forgettable.
Isn't he like, he has something at first? Is he like eating an apple or something and he throws it away and then they start fighting? Or
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
Morpheus
something like
was.
that? Yeah, that's the only thing I remember. I don't remember the
Yeah,
fight at
and then
all.
they end up fighting, and Keanu's kind of getting his butt kicked, and then he ends up just force pushing him away, and it's like, that's what you win with, and that's what he uses the rest of the movie. The whole movie, he's just blocking bullets and, like, pushing people with the force. I wanted to see him beat some ass with his hands, but I think maybe him being old and just the way they did the new fight scenes,
Maybe-
they're all just, like, fast cuts, and
Maybe he saved all that energy for the new John Wick movie.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It's
like the John Wick movies.
I do too.
That's the thing. You can do this in John Wick, but you're in the fucking Matrix. Like one of the movies that revolutionized, so to speak, or just at least brought it to us. This cool kind of like fighting, and they don't do any of that. They stay away from it all.
Yeah.
The rogue programs and the Merovingian could have been a great fight, like it was in the second one. Wasn't. The Agent Smith fight was lame.
They did have the callback during the Agent Smith fight of doing the belly shots really fast.
The
I
fast
did like
ones.
that
They
callback.
do that on Morpheus in the original, right? Like
Mhm.
in the bathroom when he busts his head through the wall. Like
Yeah.
all that stuff is so memorable in the original, and none of that is here. None of that. The zombie swarm is so generic. The force push is so, like, I wouldn't say ineffective, but it's just it's such a disappointment.
It's not the same as sending a slow motion round through somebody's skull,
Yeah.
like in the originals.
Yeah. So you asked for something good about the characters, and I went on a tangent about how much I hated the fights. But I was like, I had to say that at one point because I say in the original review, to me, The Matrix is cool because of the mythology and everything and the world building. I love it all. But far and away, my favorite thing about those movies is the fighting.
Yeah.
And watching that as a kid, and that was my first time really seeing shit like that. So I was hoping for some of that, and that was one of my big letdowns.
Yeah.
With this one.
I agree.
But, if we're talking characters, maybe we should go back to characters. What'd you guys think of Trinity, like her coming out of her shell?
Trinity's back, baby, and she's better than ever. That's the one that got the biggest cheers. Some chick in the far right of the audience just went, "Woo! Let's go, girl!"
And then Roman pointed out something that I didn't even catch in the theater. What happened after she did that?
So it was like was like a clap cheer, yeah, and then kind of silence for a couple seconds, and then again clapping, like as if someone's trying to get like a clap started.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I believe it might have been 3 times where there was a pause and then clapping again, and then someone went shh.
Yeah.
I thought that was so appropriate.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone get shushed. Well, maybe I have. It's been a while since I've heard
She
someone get
got
shushed in a theater.
Shushed, and it's not even a moment to shush somebody. There's no important dialogue going on or anything. It's literally just like, can you not? Like, this is such a disappointment for all of us. I brought it up to you guys already, but, you know, looking back on that, I thought maybe that could have been seen as, you know, with Lana being transgender, like a transgender moment. Because specifically it was when she's like, Chad, the husband whose name is literally Chad, he's grabbing her and he's like, come on, Tiffany, let's go. And she's like, I fucking hate that name, or whatever it is she says. That's when the lady was like, you know, it was like cheering, like, woo, girl power or whatever. But, you know, looking back, I could see that as a transgender thing. Like, if your name is, you know, Andy, and now you want to be known as Lana, and people still call you Andy, you're like, don't fucking call me that name. You know,
Right.
So that's something I didn't catch right away, and there's probably more of that built into it. But to me, that moment was just, I didn't think it was very effective. This is, you know, the turning point for Trinity's character, where she's basically taking the red pill or the blue pill, and at first she's going off with Chad, the blue pill, and then, you know, he calls her Tiffany, and she turns around. You know, it's like, couldn't you think of a better way to make Trinity, you know, come out of her shell and figure out she has all these powers and stuff?
I think I see what you're saying. Maybe like show Neo showing his love for her or something, instead of her just deciding to flip just because Chad called her Trinity. I mean,
just
Tiffany.
like, I just felt like it was kind of a soft, you know, that's literally like the turning point for your character, because all this movie, you know, Neo's been trying to get you to come along with him and enter into this world.
But she's been blue pilled
and
too
the
far.
thing that she does is like pull away from her husband and be like, no, that's it. No.
I can see why some people would cheer.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
it's meant to generate a cheer. Isn't it?
It's supposed to, yeah.
It feels
That's
like
the
it
big
is
scene.
supposed- it's
That's the big
supposed to,
scene.
does
It's
it?
so
Yeah,
appropriate
but-
that literally one person cheered and someone shushed them. Like, I think at that moment, a lot of the theater was feeling let down, or
Which maybe we
confused.
could call that motivation, character motivation. Like, maybe she didn't have enough motivation, in our opinion, to actually want to do the flip. Like, same thing with Batman versus Superman. Oh, you're not going to kill him all of a sudden just because you have the same mother names, Martha.
Oh,
Like, that's a big
I haven't seen
critique
that.
of the original one.
I've never seen it, but I know people don't like that, and I understand it.
Which, you can also say that for Agent Smith as well. He had, like, zero motivation in this film. It was
yeah,
really
he was just
weird.
there keeping an eye on Neo randomly, and then
Well, he was trying to kill Neo in the first act. The middle act, he's trying to kill Neo again.
And then he, like,
And then
Saves
third act,
them?
he flips, yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually saves them by killing Neil Patrick Harris.
because what does he say? Something like, you know, because your freedom like allows for my freedom, or something like that. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
something like
I
that.
just didn't understand that really.
I
Maybe
didn't
I could.
understand. There's so much about this shit I just didn't understand. I don't know if it's just because I didn't care, but I tried, and it just, like, I don't get it.
My personal low point of the movie, talking characters, was the Merovingian, bringing him back. I like Monica Bellucci, but I liked him too.
Yeah.
Persephone, you know, cool name. Like, she's the wife of Hades and all that stuff. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
and he's like kind of, you know, the gateway. He was kind of one of the first sentient programs. And I liked that about this new movie, the world building. They flesh out a little bit of that, you know, Morpheus becoming sentient. It was weird, but at least it was cool and interesting. The Merovingian shows up, and he's just like a fucking caveman all of a sudden. He's got his big beard, and he's just shouting like gibberish. And his rogue programs coming back come up, and they're all so lackluster and forgettable. And
They were supposed to be the exiles that were purged
Yeah.
from the last Matrix.
yeah, exactly. And that's cool. Like, you could have done some real cool stuff with that. And instead, I just felt like what they did with it was lame. They reduced him to basically like for laughs, because he was just going like caveman, like Pingu's dad or something like that. And I just
I turned
I
on the
loved him.
subtitles for that part to try
Yeah.
to see if I could get anything out of it. And the Merovingian, he sitting there blabbering. He says, "We had style, we had originality, and now we're all on the clickety clacketies." And I think he's like talking about cell phones. So maybe like Wachowski's trying to say like, oh, you know, back in my day when I made the original Matrix, we were all in suits and really cool, but now you guys are all just sitting on your phones and we're in boardroom meetings in the first act. It's all so boring.
that shot of him in the elevator with everybody on their phones is kind of a cool shot. I remember.
Yeah.
I think they used a lot of the best shots for the trailer, because I recognize a lot of the cool ones.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a cool like statement on what we're doing.
He was also like talking more gibberish. He said, "You gave us face, zucker, suck," and something.
What?
And then he keeps rambling on to, "You did the wiki to the thingy," and it's all like, I think he's trying to say Wikipedia is gross for modern times, and I think he's trying to say, he said face, zucker, suck, which maybe is that Facebook is like
Must
really
Mark
bad for us
Zuckerberg.
now. You guys are all clickety clacking on Facebook and the Wikipedias. And then he says, this, at the very end of the fight scene, he says, "This is not over yet. Our sequel franchise spin-off." He just says it like that.
Wow.
So I guess he's like also trying to blabber on about, oh man, we're going to come back with a sequel.
Well, that's what I don't like. It's like they're like, ooh, yeah, this shit's all stupid. But that's what they did. They made a sequel spin. It's just, I don't, it just doesn't work for me. It's like you're kind of poking fun at all this stuff, but at the same time, this is exactly what you did.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, I don't know. It just comes across as just strange and just doesn't work for me.
It's like, isn't it dumb when they make like unnecessary sequels?
Right, yeah.
Even an unnecessary sequel.
What is this? Unnecessary yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh, okay, thanks.
that's why,
Like,
I just
Am I supposed to be the idiot? Like, because I came and watched this movie?
Meta crap.
Yeah.
It's not that I have anything against being meta. It just was just so
It didn't work for you?
poorly done. And
Yeah.
Just so cringe-inducing.
Yeah, I liked it at first, and then it just kept going, and then,
That was a pretty boring fight scene, the whole Merovingian. I didn't see any cool kicks or anything.
Yeah.
Somebody
said it was like
points-
the CW? Like the CW doing fights, Riverdale and all that stuff too. Like,
Yeah, it kind of felt more like TV than a movie.
yeah, a fan film.
Yeah, and a fan film.
Straight to HBO Max.
Yeah, that's really, and it's ironic because we saw it in the theater, but really this is almost like, it's almost kind of designed for just straight to streaming.
I wonder if this is one of the films that got affected by the pandemic, like when filming.
Yeah,
'Cause-
well, I think it did. Yeah, they had to stop for a while, a few months, I want to say, and then I think they picked back up. And
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it would have been any better.
Yeah.
I honestly, I remember when they announced it. The original plans were this is supposed to come out like the same weekend as John Wick 4.
Whoa.
And
Interesting.
of course that didn't happen, but I remember being like, well, fuck that, I'm going to see John Wick 4. Fuck Matrix. Like,
Is 4 already out? Or is that?
No,
it's
it
coming
got
out
delayed,
this
I
year.
saw.
I think it's coming out this year though, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometime this year.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the John Wick movies are fun. They follow like a formula, but that's okay.
they're more relevant.
They have gun fu or gun fu.
They do have
Yeah,
actual gun
you know-
fu. He holds the gun sideways.
They're not dead and buried like the Matrix. I think you said that. Did you say that earlier?
Yeah, I think we were
Matrix is
both
kinda-
saying that.
yeah.
You know, that this was neatly buried and, or wrapped up in a
Yeah,
box
it's
and
kinda-
tied with a little bow and everything. Like, Matrix was done. You didn't need to.
Yeah, because really,
Make
that's
resurrections.
who Keanu Reeves looks like in this fucking movie. Except in the real world, when he's bald, he looks like fucking John Wick.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
It's kind of crazy when you look at him now. You see John Wick in the Matrix, which is what he's originally so famous for.
yeah,
For so long, people look at Keanu and they think, oh, Neo.
right.
Now, he's got his specific John Wick look, and so when he brings
Yeah.
that into the Matrix, it's like, what movie am I watching?
Exactly. Yeah.
How meta is this getting?
Exactly. Oh, God.
That's how they break your brain with this one. They couldn't, blow your mind with some kind of philosophy that you've never heard. They had to just go meta and try to
Yeah.
confuse you instead. And see, it's smart. I don't know. I'm not buying it. Sorry, Lana.
On my rewatch, I had the subtitles on, especially for the Merovingian, but then we get to Neo trying to meet up with Trinity in her garage where she works on her motorcycles, and then Neil Patrick Harris stops time and has that whole little segment where he's slowing everything down and monologuing basically.
Yeah, he uses bullet time against Neo.
Yeah.
So he says.
Yeah, but I don't know. There was some good commentary in Neil's monologue where he's saying, "Oh, look, you're quietly yearning for what you don't have, while dreading losing what you do." And I felt like he was like talking about how he perfected this system. He knows this new Matrix so well. That's why they put him in charge.
Yeah. He's the
He
analyst.
just has to feed people bullcrap after bullcrap to keep them under control, which that's what that line is it just keeps you quietly yearning for what you don't have while dreading losing what you do. And I think that it's almost commentary on like new social media, how they just feed you like the worst news possible and
Yeah.
keep you scared. And
Yeah.
keep you under control, and you guys don't even question your whole reality.
Okay.
There's
Neil
definitely
Patrick
some
Harris
ways that they modernize this one.
Mhm.
Like the Matrix original is very much a product of the early 2000s, like, and it's placed right in that time and everything. And that's something I think that Matrix is so famous for. So there were times where it felt like they were really trying to do that in this one. Like, for example, bringing it into Silicon Valley and tech bros and all that stuff, you know, that's very modern day. The commentary on social media and stuff, I think that's supposed to stick around and last. Also, the fact that, you know, he's not an architect with all these, like, small little, you know, TV screens. What are those ones called that burn into the CRT
TVs,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what the architect had.
Yeah.
You know, analyst, he's more like, again, he's a tech bro kind of type thing, and he's looked at the analytics, and he's known, like, they say in the original, you know, Agent Smith says, you know why the last Matrix failed? Like, we made you all too happy. Like, you need, you know, sadness in your world. And so he's taken it to that next level, and he's, like, fine-tuned it because he's looked at the analytics of it all. So, you know, there are some things I thought were pretty good and all that. A good way to bring it into the modern era. But again, like, you know, are you just gonna make a Matrix every 20 years and I don't know.
I hope not.
They have to keep hold of the rights.
Is that what it is?
Otherwise, Warner Bros.
We're
will
making
take
it
the rights away.
without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is
That-
that a YouTube stuff? With or without you?
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris, his character was okay, you know. I think the word I used after we watched it was ham-fisted. I felt like it was
a
there were
great
some
word
things
to use
that were a little ham-fisted,
this.
like when his psychiatrist Neil Patrick Harris is literally giving him blue pills, giant blue pills. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you're keeping
He's
Neo
wearing
down.
blue glasses, right?
Yeah, I think so, and he's got like the blue suit and everything, and yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really mind him, and I think the reason why is because he had my favorite line in the movie. He had my favorite line in the movie. When he said it in the theater, I was like,
He said
"Did you
the
guys-
thing."
Did you guys hear that?
That's the movie, right
Did
there.
you hear that? And we all kind of got a laugh out of that, which is fun. Yeah, I don't know when it is, but just I think it's Trinity and Neo are talking or whatever, and it just cuts to Neil Patrick Harris. He just goes, "Ay, what a mess." And I'm like, "There's the fucking movie." He just summed up the
What
whole
a
goddamn
mess.
movie. Ay, what a mess.
And
It
that's like
is.
right at the climax too.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like after they meet and blow everything apart, I think.
Yeah.
And that's when he activates swarm mode. Again, I thought such a weak part of the movie, you know.
Yeah.
It's fucking Resident Evil. Their eyes get like ball dilated and they start like chasing after and they're so ineffective.
Right.
You know, maybe it was cool that they were dropping and like they explode into the Matrix code or whatever, but even still, you know, you're
I think
sacrificing all these people just to catch like gosh.
I said it. I think after we saw it, like it reminded like stockbrokers. You know, like or I don't know if it's an urban legend, but they have infamously done that in the past. They just jump out of their office building
Yeah,
to their
because
death.
they're in
Yeah.
like downtown San Francisco
Right,
with all these
yeah.
high-rise buildings
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, financial center.
Yeah.
Stockbrokers.
Yeah.
They explode into money. You know, it's green lines of code, but it could easily just be like Grand Theft
So much
Auto, like
money.
ching ching.
Yeah, so much money.
I did like the ending fight scene in the what is it, Simulate? It's not a Starbucks, it's a Simulate.
Right.
Yeah.
It almost looked like Wachowski was trying to set it up to be almost a Greek painting because there's so
Yeah,
many
a
bodies
Renaissance
in there, all trying to reach
Yeah, and it's
towards each
frozen
other.
in bullet time, so you are
Yeah.
looking at. Again, though, I didn't think it was that great. You know,
Yeah.
like it looked like an attempt at some really good cinematography and some photography, basically within a movie.
Yeah,
Like all, you know, a Renaissance painting,
it
basically.
was almost a tease in a way. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be it. Here's
Yeah,
the
and
here's
then
the
it was
grand
just-
portrait, and then it was just like, oh, it's just a Rego painting.
Yeah, and then they like cut to Trinity's face, cut to close up on Neo's face, and they're like slowly trying to grab each other's hands, and then they do.
And then,
Yeah.
which is when Neil Patrick Harris stops the time, and then you think, oh man, he won. I forgot he has that special power. And then you know what happens? Agent Smith, out of nowhere, just stands up out of the crowd and starts shooting Neil Patrick Harris and killing him for no reason.
Does Neil Patrick Harris actually die though? Isn't he at the end when they're talking to him? He's like, you
That's
know,
right, yeah.
like he's like the sheep. He's like the sheeple. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to be. They don't want to have freedom. They want to be told what to do and this and that and the other thing. And I give it to them and they like it or something. Doesn't he say something like that?
Which is where Trinity starts beating the shit out of him and breaking his jaw, and he just keeps respawning.
It's in his office, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
did he? I guess he.
They
didn't.
like figured out how to beat his bullet time or whatever. I think at that point.
But he doesn't. But he's still there, though, right?
Yeah.
They don't technically defeat him.
Yeah, and
They're
I just, like,
kind of just like, well, we have the
leave.
power now, so
Yeah, they just leave.
be Neil Patrick Harris. I don't know.
What are you gonna do? Paint the skies rainbow? Actually,
Yeah,
I do like that idea.
Yeah.
Let's go paint the skies
Yeah,
rainbow.
I forgot that
Yeah.
part.
yeah.
Jeez.
Which is one thing that you guys complained about at the end of Matrix 3. Why does the sky turn into rainbows? Didn't you guys?
Did I?
Did you guys complain about that? I guess we pointed it out during our pod.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we did
it
record.
was
Yeah,
sorta
the
corny.
Long Lost podcast.
Which is kind of like cheesy.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Pot of gold being that it's over and we can finally enjoy ourselves. No, it's like it just I don't. You know what? It's just with that. It's just like all right, cool. Yeah, rainbow. It's over.
Yeah.
This I don't
Rainbows
know.
and
I don't know.
sunshine,
Was
they
that,
win.
was that a callback to that?
I think so.
It must have
Okay.
been,
I
yeah.
think so.
It reminds me of, sorry to sidetrack, but Total Recall when they're like, blue sky on Mars. Never seen that before. And then at the end, they have a blue sky on Mars.
I would have much rather watched that.
Yeah.
That is probably Wachowski saying, yeah, I am going to paint my skies rainbow. I'm not going to give you guys what you guys want. I know that was ridiculous in number 3, but here's a middle finger.
Yeah, like I'm just doing what I want. But it's not just a
Yeah.
middle finger to Warner Bro. and execs. It's a middle finger to us, I felt like.
To the audience.
I felt insulted.
Why are you flipping off your audience? the
Yeah,
whole
and
thing?
another time I felt insulted was when they kept showing flashbacks to the original. And I'm like, dude, I get the reference, just let me get it or not.
Yeah.
You don't have to, intersparse it with footage
They
from the
did
original.
that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they have a
much.
helicopter at one point and it's shooting, and then they film from
Right.
below as the bullets fall. And
It's like,
You know?
and again, I think I said this after. It's like, is it the South Park titled "Member Berries"? Like, remember that? Remember when this happened in the original Matrix? It's just like, when they first started doing that, I was like, okay, they're kind of just this is over the top.
Mhm.
These member berries, they're just going a little too far with this. But now I feel like, man, they hit it right on the nose. Like this is exactly what Hollywood does. It's just like, hey, remember this? Remember
Yeah.
that? Remember the Matrix?
Yeah, we're real easy to get to. They're just like, hey, we're remaking this, this, that. I haven't really seen much of Star Wars, so I'm not very qualified to talk about it, but, it's like, do you want to see a new Star Wars? Do you want to spend millions of dollars? Like, come on out. And it works.
And it does.
Yeah, I mean, it worked in this
does work.
case.
Yeah.
So here we are, everybody buying HBO Max subscriptions and going to the theater, and I think
And it's
for a forgettable movie.
and it's interesting because Roman, you still haven't seen Spider-Man.
Not the newest one.
Okay,
no.
so they kind of do that. Would you say they kind of do that a little bit in Spider-Man?
Member berries?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole movie.
Okay, but
Yeah, aren't they
it didn't-
quoting
But they did it
dialogue?
right.
It didn't. Yeah, it did, and I'm trying to think why. Just better writing.
Probably.
Because I was really paying attention to Spider-Man and actually enjoying myself and this and that, and the Matrix was the complete opposite. I just
Here's an example. When Andrew Garfield is saving
that's what I
somebody,
don't want
do they
to-
do a flashback?
No, I don't think they do any flashbacks.
They don't do a flashback.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is they trust the audience to remember watching all those films.
Right.
Because we all saw them.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a flashback and show me what I remember.
Hold our hand.
I think
Yeah.
that's why that's one of my favorite parts is when they're in the bathroom fight scene and he's giving him the belly shots, the multiple belly shots. They don't do a flashback
Yeah.
on that one. I can just remember, that was one of my favorite movies or moves from the
Yeah.
original, and it's so cool to see it make it back up here.
That's a good point, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not flashing back. Remember when Agent Smith did that to him? In
That's
the
an
original?
example of doing it right, I think.
Yeah.
Versus when they walk into the room, the white room with the 2 leather chairs, and they're literally showing it on a projector or something.
Yeah, that
And
was-
it's like, dude, we all know where
and,
this is.
And then Morpheus goes, a little bit of nostalgia, can be soothing to some or something. It's
Yeah.
Because they're trying to reboot Neo's
And it's just
Cortex or
it's just-
something.
Yeah,
Stop.
and the fans, I guess,
It's like just-
we're doing this on purpose because that's what they do in the Matrix. So now it feels like you're in the Matrix. Blah blah blah. Well, no, I just don't know. I didn't. It didn't work for me personally.
Same.
That didn't at least.
Trinity's husband being named the Chad, the handsome Chad, which is a very big meme.
Yeah, that's another new fangled.
Probably one of the most annoying memes, but I guess Lana's trying to make commentary. I don't know. On internet
Fuck all these
society.
Chads.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
guess.
I don't know.
But the fact that that guy used to actually be Neo's stunt double is kind of
yeah,
cool.
Oh, that's
Back
neat. I
in the
didn't know
day.
that.
Same actor.
I didn't know
yeah.
that either until yesterday.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
What a Chad.
That didn't work for me. Naming him Chad, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, it just was like a joke, and then I was like, "You're gonna really run with this joke now for the rest of the movie?"
Yeah, and it just
Fucking
fell so
Giga
flat.
Chad,
It's
bro.
awful. Her kids, they're like, "Are you trying to bang my mom?"
Yeah.
So
He's like total MILF.
I couldn't.
And he was a program too, so it's like, why was that guy his friend trying to get him with Trinity? Is it because they were trying to like Neil Patrick Harris said, like bring him close but not too close?
Make that
But yeah, he
energy.
was still egging him on. He was like, "Go talk to her, bro. Go talk to her."
And he's like, "I'm a geek.
Yeah.
This is how I am. I'm a geek. I was raised by machines. I'm a geek.
Video game producers.
Total MILF, bro."
It's funny to make them
Fuck
video
off.
game producers.
Ugh.
The video game thing kind of makes sense. And he's making a game called Binary, ones and zeros. Like, haha. Yeah. Simulate. Haha. There's some jokes in there that are funny. But, come on. It's not I didn't go to laugh. you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
why
if it had been funny, that would have been one thing. But
I
it
think
just wasn't.
Marvel kind of started that with their humor, because then Star Wars started doing it.
It feels like Marvel humor.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even describe it. But, yeah, the writing style, you're right. It feels like Marvel humor. Like,
Yeah, I remember that even when The Force Awakens came out, people were
Thor.
like, what was with all the Marvel humor in this?
Yeah.
And yeah, it does take away from it, because they never had that in the original Star Wars. They never had that in the original Matrixes. They were quite serious. I don't think there's any fucking jokes in any of the first three Matrixes. Is there any part where you laugh, like, intentionally? Like, it was designed to make you laugh?
I don't remember laughing in any
Like,
of them. They're all
intentionally,
pretty
right? I mean,
bleak.
you can laugh at, like, maybe the bad effects that don't hold up, crappy CGI.
Yeah.
Like, there was never a time where it's like, let's make the audience laugh.
The Agent
Maybe
Smith
when
fighting too.
when the Oracle's talking to him, she like cracks a super crazy joke on him. I don't
Oh,
know.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
She's kind of like roasting him a little bit
But
sometimes.
that's, to me, more traditional comic relief,
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah, exactly.
not
You
just,
can have a little bit of that.
not just like zany, wacky humor. Whoa,
Which
like, it's-
some of
ugh.
that Disney Marvel showed up in this movie too, where you come to the real world and Neo's aboard the ship getting introduced to the crew, and he's introduced to all the new robots, all the cute little robots. Oh yeah, this is our little tiny bud that looks
Yeah,
like Groot
Forgot about that.
chilling out on my
Totally forgot,
keyboard.
yeah.
Yeah.
They call him Yippee Yee or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's
Every
his-
movie needs a Groot.
Yeah.
It's like Gremlins, how they needed to keep,
Gizmo.
Yeah.
Gizmo, so they could sell some merch. Maybe they'll sell some.
He's-
Well, they're probably not of Matrix.
Yeah,
gonna
apparently this
sell.
movie's doing really poorly at the bottom, but it could be because it's also streaming on HBO Max.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a lot of people were probably like, "Nah, that's not getting me up into the theaters." Like,
And I don't blame them.
Yeah, no.
I felt the same. And again,
People were hurt
I
by the
don't regret
sequels.
going to. I had a fun time with you guys. I don't regret. Thank you again, Carlos, for buying the tickets. Like,
Of
it was a
course,
fun
guys.
experience. Like,
Yeah.
it was a fun night. Like, I don't regret going at all.
yeah,
Regardless if the movie was good or not, like, it was fun to go see a movie with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fun
Especially
to
in
trash
this,
it.
this time
still
right now.
fun to
when-
take it in.
I mean, like, we were even worried if we were going to be able to see this with the, COVID still being a thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, one more thing about this movie, the music. I thought the music in the original is really good. Not just like the score, but the soundtrack too. It's got a lot of, again, rooted in 2000. That era. There's like techno music and house and a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The music in this movie I didn't think was very good or memorable at all. Like, I barely remember any of it. Did they?
I mean, same.
I think we talked about it before. Like, maybe they used some of the horns from the original. Like,
Yeah, they have the classic horns back.
Yeah,
I
but-
love the horns.
especially like in the end, that Rage Against the Machine cover. When
Oh.
I was like, you
was
asked me, you were
horrible.
in the theater, Carlos. You're like, is this the original lyrics? And I'm like, no, like this is something else. This has to be something else. It wasn't. It was actually
Yeah,
like
I was
a
like,
Wake
dude,
Up
I'm pretty
cover.
sure that's Wake Up.
Yeah, so
cover
that was
band.
kind of
That was horrible.
another disappointment because I think the music goes a long way in the original.
It's like
to
the
making
same.
it
It's
style.
it's just like you're taking something and just making it worse
Yeah.
with the Rage Against the Machine song. Just
Yeah,
this movie.
why'd you
You're
do
taking
this? Just to
something and
modernize it or something?
It's
Like,
just ugh.
Well, because they flipped the script from Neo being the chosen one to Trinity being the
Trinity.
chosen one,
Yeah.
which is probably Wachowski's doing. And then they change the original band to the female cover band.
Right.
Yeah. that's okay, but
I think Wachowski
wasn't.
just did what she wanted to do this one
yeah.
for this film.
And I was telling you guys. I mean, I don't have anything against them. I don't have a vendetta against them. I don't know them. They're
Yeah.
fine. The Wachowskis.
Right.
But when I think of filmmakers, I don't really think of them because the only thing I've ever seen them do is the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
I know they did a movie before the Matrix came out. I've never seen it. I forget what it's called. But I guess it was good enough for people to take notice and give them the Matrix.
Is that like the lesbian robbery one? Like
I think so.
Bonnie and Clyde type
Yeah,
thing?
something like that.
I guess that is them, yeah.
And then they did Speed Racer, which I
didn't like that one when I was little.
I didn't bother.
Is it a live action one?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And then they did Cloud Atlas, and I remember when that came out, everybody just saying it was just a clusterfuck of nonsense.
Yeah, that one was confusing.
Yeah. So I've never really, it's just nothing. It's just I've never really held them in that high regard, And I don't know why the other sister Lily didn't come back. I don't know why.
Maybe she knew what was going on.
Maybe she just
didn't want to attach her name.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't blame her.
No. If you're just gonna be doing a money grab,
Lana did what she did, and
sequel.
we got it. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't necessarily. It's a product of its time, I guess. We're kind of bereft of ideas.
Yeah, there's a lot of regurgitation going on.
Yeah, so even though I don't really consider the Wachowskis anything notable, at the same time I don't fault, because so many people have done the same. I don't know. I just don't want
if it's true that Warner Brothers was gonna remake it with or without them, like at least maybe Lana was like, well,
and I respect.
the least I can do is try to make
that's
it okay.
the most notable thing they've ever done.
Yeah, no, they're renowned for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're really respected when I remember looking at the cast and stuff talking about them during the making of, and their pitch meeting was legendary and all this stuff, so they must have at one point.
I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, but this one, SMH, shaking my head. That's how I feel about it.
I think I literally did that in the theater.
I'm sure I did it at some points
Yeah.
too.
Literally.
There was a smile on my face at the beginning when I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like back in the Matrix, and then it was quickly a frown.
I was telling you guys before, the third one was the first R-rated movie I ever saw in the theater. At the theater we saw 4 in, so yeah, I was going, whoa, oh my god, I remember being 8 and watching the third one.
At least the third one had, why? None of that. No, there were no stakes in this movie. I read somewhere that nobody dies. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I noticed that nobody died.
Yeah, I was waiting for
point.
Bugs Bunny to get shot, or the.
There's one of the other people I don't remember.
Yeah, anybody. No, they were literally so uninteresting.
Yeah.
There was the blonde guy.
He didn't do a not like this.
Right.
No, there was no not like this. There was no Mouse going out with some cool ass guns.
Yeah, because I can't remember. We remember Mouse's name. We remember Tank, Dozer.
Yeah.
Cypher. Cypher. What was the blonde chick's name?
Switch.
Is it Switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was a good movie to do Switch in, and you
I
never
can't remember
did a
any of
Switch.
those other fucking people's names besides Bugs. I don't remember the other guy with the kind of glasses.
Shepherd.
That was his
Yeah,
I wrote his
Shepherd.
name down because he was
Okay.
one of the cooler looking.
Yeah,
characters.
he was
that
a
was
cool guy. He was
that
one of the
was
captains
interesting.
that stepped forward. By the way, Niobe I thought was awful.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk
She
about
looked
it.
terrible
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
She looked like Scar from Lion King, kind of.
Oh my god.
I'm like, dude,
That's a fucking great comparison.
yeah. I was like, what is this? Like, you aged her up.
I
It looked like
appreciate
Planet of the
it.
Apes from 1978 or whatever.
I appreciate
Oh, I
trying
think
to bring her
that looks better
back,
than
but
fucking
it
is.
just didn't work this time.
No, and I'm supposed to believe that she's the crazy captain leader of this place. She didn't have any gravitas to her. I was just like, dude,
Yeah.
Niobe, quit talking. Can we get on with the
Yeah.
movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
So them, and I was hoping to see some cool outfits or something. I think I saw somebody had space buns or something. And
Yeah.
and
Sati.
yeah, I think it was Tati. And I'm just like, dude,
Okay.
you have a good chance here to, just like you did in the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of capture that time and that fashion and whatever. And I just didn't think it mixed very well. It seemed like why are they still all in black leather and stuff? Nobody wears that anymore.
It's because the Matrix is old. It's done. It's done. Leave it in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That was when it was relevant.
Morpheus had some nice suits this time.
That's
Yeah,
that's
they,
okay.
they modernized
okay.
Morpheus. They made him
Yeah.
look like the Riddler. which is cool.
Yeah, he looked like he looked like Dumb and Dumber. Also,
Oh my god, with the orange
That's
suit.
funny, the orange one.
I don't think I think someone said that in the parking lot. when
He
we were
wore it
talking.
well though.
Afterwards.
That was okay. Like I liked that. When I saw that, that's what I thought. Oh, they're like modernizing it. That's cool. Like I wonder what else I'll see.
It still just didn't.
Barely anything.
But it just still just it's just like just leave it alone. It was relevant for the time.
Yeah, the
You
style
know?
is early 2000s, and how are you gonna do that?
Just leave it. Just leave it alone. Like
Nobody wears trench coats anymore.
exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, sorry, going back to Agent Smith, I had a lot of trouble with his character and his arc and stuff. But after he saves the day randomly out of nowhere and shoots Neil Patrick Harris, he gives out a line before he disappears. He says, "You know the difference between us, Tom? Anyone could have been you, whereas I've always been anyone." And then he just like does like a transformation back into that tall barista, and the barista just like freaks out, like, "Whoa, where am I? What the heck?" But like, what does that mean?
I don't know.
You know the difference between us? Anyone could have been you,
But I've always
whereas
been me.
I've always been anyone.
I don't know.
Is that just pointing out that he can morph into anybody he wants? I don't know what that means.
Anyone can be you,
We're just not smart enough.
I guess.
That was
It's
the
not
biggest
smart
letdown
enough.
for me was Agent Smith, I
That's a
think.
problem. That's a problem I have with the Matrix movie. I was talking about it before. It's like I just don't. It kind of comes across like we're smarter than you,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why you don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, maybe it's just kind of gobbledygook writing, maybe.
Yeah. Have you considered that maybe you're not as smart as you think?
Yeah,
You're just being
exact-
very confusing.
Yeah,
I mean,
precisely.
that's why I said in the beginning, like, maybe I'll look back on this and be like, oh, I just didn't get it. I think maybe I didn't get Inception the first time or something. Not that that's like a pinnacle of fucking human intelligence or anything, but, you know, it was just a little confusing, but then I rewatched it. Okay, you know,
South Park-
it's clever enough.
South Park really took a dig at that too, didn't
Did they? I
think
haven't
did.
seen that one.
Uh,
But, you know, yeah, sometimes it's clever and you just don't get it. This one, I don't get that feeling with it. And yeah, like I said, maybe I'll look like an idiot in 2 years when I'm like, oh, they were talking about this. But I just don't think so. I'm pretty staunch in my belief that, you know, maybe they were just a little too over their own heads, you know, with
Yeah.
this one.
I just don't care enough to actually,
True.
try.
Well, and not only that, this one's just so forgettable. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
right away I was like, oh man, like, let's talk about this. And then even now, like a week and a half later or whatever, it's just kind of like, well, it was just whatever. It was a movie. When my girlfriend asked how it was, that's what I said. It was a movie,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So this, one thing everybody says when they talk about the Matrix, when it came out in 1999, it was so revolutionary. It changed the way we look at movies, and it changed the landscape, and this and that. And I honestly can't think of what the Matrix did. Like, they made fun of it in Scary Movie, and you showed us the clips in the House of the Dead. Was it House of the Dead that you showed us?
Oh yeah, where they did like a slow motion bullet time.
What else? Like,
That video game? Isn't that the video game?
it was, but they made a movie out of it.
Oh, right.
And
It was always on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day.
like, what did it?
There's been lots of movies with bullet time. I think bullet time is maybe one that...
But there were also a decent amount of movies with bullet time before the Matrix too.
If you're walking on the street and you see a dude in a leather trench coat with tiny glasses clipped onto his nose, you'll say, "Whoa, dude, what's up? Red pill or blue pill?" And then you'll like do a fake backwards, like try to bullet dodge.
I wouldn't do any of that.
Like,
Yeah, I would think. That
Yeah, you
guy's
probably
a-
wouldn't do
that guy-
anything.
That guy's a
Hey,
school
that-
shooter.
that's more... yeah. A Columbine cosplayer.
thank you, Columbine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Columbine. God damn it.
But
It
you
could've been
immediately connect it to the Matrix. Everybody knows the Matrix.
But like again, people say it changed, but really, I mean, what did it? What did it like? What I feel like at the Matrix, honestly, it never came out. But we still, it wouldn't. What would it have changed? Like what did it change?
We're
Like,
all
what-
trapped in the simulation. It's a religion, dude.
But
That is my religion. We're all trapped in a simulation,
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
like-
trying to get out right now.
It is.
But-
They are religious ideas.
But did other movies go and run with that after it came out? I can't think of any.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look. I'm sure there's a list. I'm sure plenty of movies took inspiration from The Matrix.
Are
But
they
yeah,
notable? Are they
they're
notable?
using...
Are they any good? I mean,
They're using simulacra and simulation, right? The book that was... I think I talked about it. It's like a 60s French philosopher wrote it, So They're just bringing that into a movie. They just took Ghost in the Shell and brought it into a movie. So I think when people say it changed things, I think maybe that's sort of a misnomer. It more so like brought things to light to like the general public, you know. And I think that's what you were getting at too, Ian, right? Like these ideas have been done before. I just think maybe it was the first time, like for me, that was the first time I saw anything, although I was like, you know, 6 at the time, so my movie knowledge wasn't so vast, but
Same, yeah.
yeah. But so, you know, that's where I think The Matrix is so influential, is that it just took a lot of those things like Eastern, well, you know, it's not like Kung Fu was anything new, but still the gun fu was cool.
The thing is some people say like, oh, it was like Star Wars, it was a phenomenon, and Star Wars didn't necessarily do anything new. However, at least when Star Wars came out, I can like, you know, like, oh, because it did change, and it did change movies, because we got, not even movies, we got Battlestar Galactica on TV, we got Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, we got Blade Runner. They took Star Trek to movies because of Star Wars. They were going to do a show, it's called Star Trek Phase 2. Mm-hmm. It was all planned out. Star Wars came out, made, you know, the most money ever, a movie ever made. They're like, well, fuck, let's put like, Star Wars actually affected the movie industry and even the television industry. What The Matrix, like, oh, they made fun of it in Scary Movie. Like, what did it, like, you know, that's why when people say, like, oh, it you know, it's so groundbreaking, it's like, really?
It probably gave a lot of people ideas for how they could shoot action sequences and use bullet time and stuff.
I can't think of any examples.
Max Payne. I think we were talking about the video game the other day.
Okay, you know, but again, it's a video game. Like,
well, I'd have to look. I don't know where bullet time, so to speak, started. You know?
I don't think
like
anybody.
Fallout
really,
games have that.
You know, Roman, I don't think anybody really knows, because it was always sort of a thing, going back to like multiple camera setups, like they were doing like when film kind of came about. It's really hard to like pinpoint it, because like people say like they do it in Lost in Space and Blade, which came out the year before Matrix. And I've never seen Lost in Space, but I think I haven't seen Blade in a long time, but I remember like, okay, Blade, I could kind of see that.
Blade had trench coats.
Exactly,
sure.
yeah. And I like, not gonna lie, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to like be like, whoa, hot take, but I'd rather watch Blade than The Matrix, personally.
I think Blade and Matrix would make a really good double feature.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I if I had to choose
Guys in
between the
trench
two,
coats fighting.
I would pick, maybe just because, you know, it's a little more visceral. I think there's more blood.
It's literally the blood rave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think those kind of vampires are cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. But
so what do you think? Are we done with The Matrix forever? We're not going to go see 5?
up to you guys.
I think 5 I might wait. You know, for
see the reviews?
Yeah, I'll go on Hulu or something whenever it comes out for free. Amazon Prime Video, you know, rent Matrix 5
Well,
for free.
that's the thing. Do you guys think they're going to make more? Because it sounds like they might not make more after the
I don't
reception
know.
of this one and the box office returns.
That ending was so bad in Matrix 4 that it's like, if they don't make another one, then...
We didn't talk about the after credits scene, too.
Were there 2?
There's just one, I think, right?
It's just one after credits.
And what was that about?
More
humor.
More Marvel humor.
Yeah,
more
for real.
attempt at humor, and it
We
didn't
gotta
work.
make it was more meta. I can't believe we stuck around for that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Sat through the whole credit.
What, the Catrix? Was that what it was? Cat Matrix?
Because the internet likes
People
cats.
love cats.
They're big on the internet, right?
He
Cat
named his
videos.
black cat Deja Vu. Yeah.
That was, again. Oh, get it? On the no, yeah. What is that? What does a black cat mean in the Matrix? Deja vu.
Yeah.
Remember in the first one, he saw black cat twice. Deja vu, glitch in the maze. Stop.
I think the ending credit scene was Wachowski saying "fuck you" for staying this whole time.
Okay.
It was just a middle finger to
Yeah,
the audience
sure.
again.
Wow, so we watched a movie where the director literally was just like, fuck you.
Yeah,
The whole time.
Middle finger to us.
Fuck
It's
everybody.
like South Park when they talk about Indiana Jones and they do Deliverance with
Right. George Lucas and
yeah.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, that's kind of how this one feels a little bit. The
The
Wachowskis are like, you like The Matrix? I hope they do something about it in the new one. They bring back the Asperger's people. but it's a different Morpheus.
What?
Oh, you talking about South Park?
Yeah, South Park. Yeah.
Wait,
South
the
Park.
Asperger's. Oh, okay.
The Asperger's, like,
Yeah.
they're the Matrix.
Yes, that was funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they'll
Didn't
probably
you send
have that
a
in the
or a
next
gift
episode.
on that. Yeah, that was funny.
So that's how I felt about this movie. Squeal like a pig,
Boy,
boy.
yeah, it's the same thing.
I'm
It's
sorry,
like
I
Indiana
went-
Jones was not necessary at all, and Harrison Ford is just old, and
A lot of parallels.
yeah, just ugh. And they bring new characters like his son in, you don't really care about, and
So
it was a trilogy that ended fine that we never needed another one for, yet they did it another one, and yeah, it's just the same fucking
there's a
thing.
big Venn diagram and a lot of overlapping.
And it was like the same thing. I think they told Steven Spielberg, like, look, we'll do it with you or without you. And he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll come back.
So is it a big fuck you to the movie industry?
Yeah.
Did they make
And
a
they're
fifth
making
Indiana
Indiana
Jones?
Jones 5, apparently, which
Oh.
is just, Jesus,
Oh, no.
God. Stop.
Fourth one's Crystal Skull, right?
Yeah.
That's
I
my
saw that in
favorite one.
theaters.
Yeah.
That's your favorite one.
That's the one I saw in theaters too. and
I
that's
saw
my
it in
favorite
theaters
one.
as well.
I like Ancient Aliens. It's a good show.
Alien. Forgot about that show. Oh, God. Forgot about that shit.
So would you recommend this movie to a friend?
No, I wouldn't
No.
put that evil on.
I wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
If you love The Matrix,
I wouldn't recommend
don't
it.
watch this one.
I wouldn't recommend it to a stranger. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
I think
That's
I
the thing, it's
posted
just
that
so
on.
forgettable.
I posted that on Instagram. I said, "Oh no, Matrix 4 is the worst movie I've seen this year," and everybody said, "Oh, thank you." I didn't. I was trying to decide if I want to see it or not.
There you go.
No, I won't.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Saving
That was
people
bad.
their time.
Yeah.
Time
Yeah.
and effort.
Go see Spider-Man instead.
Yeah.
If you want
go
some
see Licorice
member berries.
Pizza, much better movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what would you rate it out of 5, Roman?
That's a good question. I think I'm gonna go with a 2.
Okay.
Which is really low for me. I'm the Paula Abdul here. I'm the really friendly one where you get 1 star just by default. Because making a movie is a work of art. There's some cool stuff in it. I liked being back in the Matrix. Even if I didn't think I needed to be there, it was still kind of cool to step into that world. But yeah, it just didn't work for me. And like I said at the very beginning, you didn't need to make this movie,
Mm-hmm.
So it just felt very unnecessary, and kind of all my fears were confirmed that I had when I originally saw the trailer. So yeah, 2 out of 5 for me.
2 out of 5.
Man,
Ian, you wanna?
Do I have to give it something? Can I just give it a 0?
look what
You're gonna give it a 0? Oh no.
Like,
A 0. Is that a rating? Is
Are
that
you
allowed?
giving your
Yeah,
first
am I allowed to
0?
do that? Like-
I guess so.
like, there's nothing, the fucking only part of the movie I liked is when it was like, oh, yeah, this is how, what a mess. That's the only, that's the only part where I was just like, yay, like, someone had to say it, thank God.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it sucks because it's like, it takes a lot of effort to make these movies. It takes a lot of manpower or people power to, go and edit, and it does take a skill, but at the same time it's like they could have been doing that for something else, and they did it for this.
Yeah.
They spent like what, $160 million on this fucking thing.
Yeah.
They could have done so much more with that money. And
Yeah.
they made this. Like, it just really just kind of disappoints me.
I'm sure it made its money back.
I don't
No
think it
Lawrence
is.
Fishburne, no Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, that too. And we're just giving these bullshit reasons why they're not back, and they're just showing clips of the first 3, and it's just like, I'd rather watch those.
Yeah.
We
because
only got
they're
one
bet- because they're
Wachowski.
better movies, and that's like, well, would I actually really? I don't know. Again, it's just like, again, it's all this shit's made me like, do I even like The Matrix? Like, it's kind of bad when your new movie kind of just makes me that didn't even happen with Star Wars.
Mhm.
As much as The Last Jedi like totally just left me like kind of just perplexed and amazed at just how much they fucked it up. Like, it didn't make me go back and be like, well, I don't like any of them anymore. Like, I don't like Empire Strikes Back anymore, or this and that. It did. This makes me go back to the old ones and just be like, God, are these even good? Like, and to me,
It's tainted the whole
that's
franchise.
That's kind of you know, again, I said it before, like, this was not directed towards me. I never wanted another one. I thought that it ended fine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is that a little too, like, kicking a person while they're down, giving it a zero? You know, is that a little too cruel? I don't know.
That's how you feel about it.
I don't know. I just, like, I don't know. Maybe a 1, I guess. I'll give it a 1.
It's definitely
You can
a
go
forgettable
zero.
movie.
A mercy point. I'll give it a 1.
Okay, just to
Just
get on
because
the
I like
board.
the I would have messed. Full point for the I would have messed line.
I'll probably remember this movie most for how much I disliked it,
Yeah.
which is sad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think I gotta give this one a 1.5, guys. It
Mm.
was, didn't do it for me this time,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I remember after the movie, you had the greatest, like, thing anyone said. You're just like, I don't get it. Like, I kept waiting for it to be good, and it never got good.
It never got good.
Like, why didn't it get good?
Where was the
When's it
good? Man, Neo, I mean, they had that little dojo fight scene, but that wasn't even fun. And then for the rest of the movie, he's using force push
Yeah. See?
to defeat all his enemies. There's no gunfights. There's
Right.
no cool. There wasn't really that much kung fu in this movie
Yeah.
or hand-to-hand combat.
Which again, it's just like I said this after we saw it. It's like it almost didn't even feel like a Matrix movie.
Yeah,
It's just really perplexing.
and they Disney-fied it by having the robots come to the human side. That's just so hard for me to swallow. I guess at the end of the trilogy, you should expect something to change. There should be some sort of peace in the world or in the Matrix, and I guess machines, that kind of makes sense that they should come to the other side, but it was just, it didn't feel right
I agree.
the way it was executed.
I agree.
It is nice at least to think so often with machines and AI, you get like the Terminator approach where it's us versus them.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice to have them on our side for once.
Yeah.
See what that would look like, because that's kind of the more optimistic vision of AI's role in the future. Like, you know,
That's what they do in Terminator 2. Arnold's the good guy.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a switch from Terminator 1 to
Yeah.
2. Suddenly, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little. I did kind of like that at least,
Yeah.
sort of.
I mean, going back to the behind the scenes, when they make the big jump at the end and Trinity catches Neo, that was a practical effect. They actually
Oh.
were dangling from the towers
Wow,
on high
that's cool.
wires. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess I could appreciate some of the acting in here. No, Neo was pretty bad. He hit it. He hit his lines well. He said what? Pretty well. He hit those ones on cue every
Yeah.
time. What?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he has like this interesting way of talk. I don't know if it's just, I guess, in all of them, but he just sort of kind of has this way of talking.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? We don't use that word here. What word would you use? It's just, I don't know. You know, everybody's always made fun of Keanu Reeves, but it's like, I don't know if that was intentional because, you know, this world is just so devoid of life. I don't know. Because I don't think really he's a bad actor.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really said, like, or even thought, like, he's bad. It's just,
I just don't think he has a lot of range.
and that might be, I think, because that's just kind of the guy he is in real
Mhm.
life. He's just kind of a very laid back dude.
Exactly.
And, you know, I think he's fine in the John Wick movies. Again, it's just like, you know, that's why Speed, I really like Speed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like the Bill and Ted movie, at least the first 2 Bill and Ted movies. He's kind of just playing the idiot surfer guy, but, you know,
Yeah.
it works. Yeah, I don't know.
I was excited for Jada Pinkett Smith to come back, and her character was kind of a dud.
Yeah.
It's cool that she's in old makeup and everything, and they're trying to show how it's 60 years in the future. And they've been busy trying to recreate this new town. It's called Io instead of what was the original one?
Zion.
Zion?
Yeah.
Io. Z.
So they shortened. They took off the two
Yeah,
the ends.
the end
It's just
letters.
Io now.
There probably is a sign like that.
No, I'm sure.
Literally, like, welcome to Zion, and like the 2 letters are burnt out. It's just
Yeah,
welcome to Io.
you can see like where they were.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Io. That's in Fallout New Vegas. There's a town called Novak, and it's just a hotel thing that says no vacancy, but Novak
Yeah,
is just
okay.
lit up. And I always thought that was
Yeah.
just so cheesy. Like, it's kind of funny, but
Yeah, it is funny.
yeah.
Well, and
Io.
Niobe's like growing strawberries and blueberries, and she's farming and starting to get the world coming back together and stuff. And me, I didn't really care for it. I didn't care for that whole plot.
Yeah, the
but
Stardew Valley side plot.
Maybe that's what I'm missing here, though, is Wachowski's trying to paint the sky's rainbow, and maybe I'm just not letting that into my heart. I'm not letting the love in. Something's going on here.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys.
But you know
You guys
what?
don't
I
get
mean,
it.
when it's that when it's that awkwardly done, why would you let it in? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not just living on your, on your past success. Like, you got to prove it to me now too.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And like you said, Ian, like maybe they went even so far backwards that it kind of makes you question some of the original stuff. You know.
I bring it up, and like I was thinking, I was just really in a, I don't know what it was. I was just in a shitty mood, and I was thinking about the first one, and I even bring it up in our Matrix, the first one, the Matrix 1999 podcast we did, and I'm thinking about like, oh, it was so groundbreaking, it's such a great story. I'm like, they fucking borrow a fucking plot from The Simpsons of blocking out the sun. They block out the sun just like they did in The Simpsons. I'm just like, and I'm just like,
did it.
and I'm just like, man, I'm just really in a really piss poor mood right now.
And that. I saw that before in another movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know why. It just made me really kind of almost just.
That's kind of something you could say about this movie too, Seen it before. Most of it is in the original.
Yeah.
It's,
Just
yeah,
done
let's
more-
go to
just-
the, like, oh, we'll take you to our leader again, in this underground city
They
again.
have their boring
It's
moments,
Niobe.
but at least they have their entertaining moments too. And this one didn't
No, the
really have
originals,
any
yeah.
entertaining moments.
No, you're right.
So yeah.
Damn, a dud indeed. What did we have? 2, 1, and 1.5?
Yeah.
So that's what, 4.5
Yeah.
out of 15.
Yikes.
Yeesh.
One of the lowest scores for sure.
I think that's by far our lowest score.
Damn, and especially coming from our Matrix review, where I think maybe I gave it a 5.
Yeah. How the mighty have fallen.
Exactly.
Yeesh, a 5 to a 2. It's pretty big.
That
Yep.
sucks.
It's pretty big.
Hey, well, we watched it. We got it off our chest at least now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can forget about it probably for all time.
Yeah.
Set 2021 behind us, guys.
Yeah.
That year
Yeah.
sucked ass.
Yeah.
Let's get ready for 2022.
You know what? This December, we saw 3 movies, Carlos, and I overall, and you saw this. I'm sorry that this was the only one that you saw,
That's okay.
but as Meatloaf once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So it's passing 2/3. So
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
Are we reburying the Matrix that was already done and buried after the first 3?
I say so.
yeah, no resurrections today, guys.
That's another. Don't subtitle your movie Resurrection or Resurrections. I said this to you guys.
Yeah.
Halloween Resurrection sucks. Alien Resurrection sucks, and I'd rather watch those movies over this.
Damn.
Yeah. Don't subtitle your movie Right when they did that, I'm like, oh no.
Oh,
Don't
this
do
doesn't
that.
look good.
Don't do that. Oh no.
Maybe that was another meta choice.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
She knew.
This meta is just, it's too much meta.
All right,
Meta
well,
overload.
I guess that's it, huh?
Thanks
I
for
hope so.
thanks for doing this with me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again for,
Even watching a terrible movie is
Taking
still a
us-
good time.
Yeah.
yeah, again, like, I don't regret going at all. It's
No.
fun.
Well, until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adios, everybody. Happy New Year.
Adios, muchachos. Happy New Year.
Later.
Let's go!